Coming up, Kazakh coal is in demand in foreign markets. The country exported 23 million tons of solid fuel since the beginning of the year. The greenest were identified in Nur-Sultan. The results of the third national eco-competition for the most environmentally friendly office were summed up. Stay tuned.
Жазира, жасыл кілем өрнектеген, туған жерге дариға жер жетпеген. Ең өлкем, әлделей бер сен деп келем.
The world premiere of the film Mukagali, Tallinn Black Nights Film Festival, will be the starting point for the international tour of the film, directed by Bolat Kalumbetov. Over the past day, 1,742 cases of coronavirus infection have been identified in Kazakhstan. Almaty is still in the first place in terms of the number of the infected, plus 292 people. Pavlodar region remains in the second place in this regard. 202 people with a positive PCR test were identified there. The capital of Kazakhstan follows with 178 infected. Since the beginning of the spread of the pandemic, more than 924,000 cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed in the country. According to the Ministry of Health, over 51,000 Kazakh residents continue to receive treatment for coronavirus. More than 8,000 of them are in hospitals. Presently, 7,269,888 people have been fully immunized in Kazakhstan. European leaders are demanding that work on the recognition of vaccination certificates with non-EU countries be accelerated. They came out with these initiatives on the first day of the EU summit in Brussels. Speeding up the process now depends on the European Commission. Of the EU member states, only Hungary, mutually with Kazakhstan, recognize national vaccine passports. Since Budapest became the first in the Western world to authorize the use of the Russian Sputnik V vaccine, Kazakh citizens can fly to Germany, Poland, and Italy. These countries allow foreign travelers arriving for medical treatment, study, or work. In other cases, a vaccine approved by the EU Commission is needed. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson urged residents to undergo revaccination. 2 doses of the COVID vaccine were received by almost 80% of the country's population. The booster shot is offered to adults, including those over 50 years of age. However, critics claim that the booster campaign is progressing more slowly than the virus. This week, the UK reported the highest single-day coronavirus caseload since mid-July of almost 50,000.
Yes, we're watching the numbers very carefully every day. And yes, you're absolutely right, Tracy, the numbers of infections are high. But we're within the parameters of what the predictions were, what SPY-M and the others said where we would be at this stage, given the steps that we've taken. So we're sticking with our plan. I think the most important thing people can do now is just get that booster jab.
The epidemic situation is aggravating in Russia. The country has been hitting new coronavirus heights throughout October, and a new version of the Delta variant has been recently identified, which, according to virologists, is 10% more infectious than the original. The authorities declared a lockdown from late October to November 7th. These days will be non-working. Only pharmacies and shops with essential goods will be open. School children will go on holiday and students will switch to distance learning. Experts are calling for higher vaccination rates and urge citizens not to forget wearing masks and follow social distancing.
The
situation with coronavirus infection is complex. Recently, the COVID-19 infection rates have significantly increased in many regions of the country.
Сейчас наблюдается тенденция к утяжелению пациента, причем быстрому.
There is now a tendency towards an aggravation of the condition of patients, and moreover, a rapid one. And if earlier we noticed that they were mostly elderly people, then today our patients are young people under 30 and a little older. And it happens that the worsening of the patient's condition occurs very sharply. Therefore, today, the COVID has become more aggressive. Demand for coal from Kazakhstan is growing. Since the beginning of the year, the country has exported 23 million tons of solid fuel. Among the new buyers were South Korea, Morocco, India, Bulgaria, and the UK. The latter received a shipment of about 192,000 tons of coal. In the meantime, Turkey, Poland, Switzerland, China, and Uzbekistan have increased the volumes of purchased black fuel. The reserves of Kazakhstan amount to almost 34 billion tons. And according to these indicators, Kazakhstan is among the 10 leading countries in the world. Over the 9 months of this year, the country's coal mining companies have developed over 79 million tons of coal, which is almost 1.5% more compared to the same period in 2020.
Цена на газ, если выросла в Европе, то, естественно, мы должны этим воспользоваться.
The gas price has grown in Europe, and naturally we should take advantage of this, because if they have such a high price, they will be looking for cheaper forms of energy. And not only in Europe, but in a number of other countries. Coal-fired generation is being revived. They need coal. We need to think about where we are and how we can sell it. And here we need the help of the government to find coal delivery opportunities.
Чтобы найти такие возможности доставки этого угля.
The most environmentally responsible organizations and enterprises of Kazakhstan were awarded in the capital. The results of the third national competition, Green Office, were summed up. The project aims at promoting green and low-carbon technologies and disseminating better environmental solutions. This year, the number of participants has increased. More than 100 applications have been submitted for the competition. The commission selected 30 best leaders in 10 nominations, introducing advanced green practices in their production. Among them are healthcare facilities, education, government agencies, international organizations, representatives of SMEs, industrial enterprises, businesses, financial organizations, and NGOs.
Зеленый офис, можно сказать, что это здоровый офис, потому что в таких офисах очень бережно
относятся. A green office is a healthy office because such organizations are very careful about resources. They are saving water and installing new green technologies that help save resources. Out of 100 applications, 3 categories of the competition turned out to be the most popular ones, namely industrial sector, education, and state bodies and quasi-public sector.
И госорганы, и квазигосударственный сектор тоже у нас принимали активное участие.
У нас очень большой комплекс.
Our complex is very large, and we try to implement these rules everywhere. Saving electricity is, of course, the most important thing. We use energy-saving lamps, and we also have specially installed equipment that reduces energy consumption. We have a boiler room, and we've given up on coal. We use natural gas. We've made an eco-friendly project, and therefore we have almost no emissions. The premiere of the film Kazakh History of the Golden Man took place at the Rome Film Festival. The documentary was produced by Oscar-winning film director Oliver Stone. In the film, he interviewed Nursultan Nazarbayev to tell the story of the formation and development of Kazakhstan through the prism of the personality of the country's first president. The first screening of the film aroused a keen interest of viewers.
Very proud of the movie. I'm glad it's here, and I'm very happy that the people of the West are learning more about Kazakhstan. And Mr. Nursultan, president, in the documentary talks about the last 40 years and the transitions of power from communism to Gorbachev, to Yeltsin, to Putin, and the relationship with China and America, as well as Russia. So Kazakhstan's at the center of Eurasia.
The audience was impressed by the film score, which was entrusted to the reputable international expert on traditional music of the Kazakh people, Carlo Siliotto. The film also touched on the period of the collapse of the Soviet Union and the formation of independent Kazakhstan, in detail from within.
It's amazing. It's a beautiful documentary, and with the help of the director, who has really a personal touch in getting into the story, but also with Oliver Stone, who has an experience in kindly asking delicate questions to important people like presidents. And now with this film, I think it's very touching. It helped me to understand the charisma of this man.
The film is great. The first president of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, will talk about all the achievements of 40 years. During this period, the standard of living in the country was constantly growing. The Rome Film Fest became the starting point of the world tour of the film, Kazakh History of the Golden Man. The documentary is planned to be presented in the US, China, and other European countries. The international premiere of the Kazakh film Mukagali will take place in Estonia. The film, telling about the last years of the life of legendary Kazakh poet Mukagali Makataev, was included in the main competition program of the 25th anniversary Tallinn Black Nights Film Festival. It will take place from November 12th to 28th. The press service of the Kazakh Film Studio reports. In the main competition of the festival, the film of the Kazakh director Adilkhan Yerzhanov, Collective Immunity, will also compete for the main prize. A film, 18 kHz, directed by Farhad Sharipov, will be featured in the competition program Youth Films. In total, this year, 19 films take part in the film festival, which has been held since 1997. Asterix and Obelix go to Kazakhstan. A new album of the iconic French comic strip, which tells about the adventures of friends in Central Asia, was released in France. The plot of the new adventure is based on the search for the totem of the nomadic tribe, the Griffin. The Gauls travel east to follow the footsteps of the ancient nomadic people, the Sarmatians, in search of an amazing and terrifying creature. The heroes will travel through the snowy plains on horseback. Besides adventures, the authors will also talk about the lifestyle of the nomads. According to the publishers, the writers spent a lot of time studying historical sources.
C'est une idée qui vient du scénariste.
This idea was proposed by a screenwriter who wanted to send the characters somewhere to search for a mystical griffin monster, and he wanted to place this exhibition in the wild, snow-covered environment. So he looked at the map and chose the Sarmatian land for the adventure's location. In fact, this also intersects with real history, because many ancient Greek historians placed the griffin in these parts.
Alors moi, bien au contraire, c'est quelque chose
It's something unexpected, and all the action takes place in a country that hasn't appeared in these books before. From a new adventure, I expect to be surprised and to see new landscapes and a new country. I'm looking forward to it, and I have a feeling I'll be pleasantly surprised. Similarities were found between the petroglyphs of Tamgal Tas in Kazakhstan and cave carvings in Sarmishsai Reserve in Uzbekistan. The rock stories in both countries are painted in the same style. This is how our ancestors expressed their vision of the world.
Mana bu yerda yirik shoxlik buqalar tasvirlangan. Hozir bunaqa turdagi
For example, these days you don't see the balls like the ones on these rocks, even similar ones. So the question is, why did they disappear? Scientists have their own opinion on this. The first is the impact of a dramatic change in the environment. Animals may have died because they couldn't find food. Second, they migrated to Mongolia. In this country, you can still find bulls of a really unusual breed.
Bu buqalar yeyish uchun oziqa mo'l bo'lish kerak.
About 10,000 petroglyphs were found in the gorges of Sarmishsai Reserve, located in Navoy region of Uzbekistan. Most of them date back to the Bronze Age. However, many paintings were created in periods ranging from the Paleolithic Age to the spread of the Saka tribes.
Qozog'istondan Obelix kelib bu yerda mana shu qoya suratlarini saqlash, muhofaza qilish.
Scientists from Norway, Kazakhstan, and Russia have repeatedly studied these gorges. Through petroglyphs, you can see the culture of people who lived in different periods. For example, we found images of two people dancing. This means that at the time, the tribes already had music, and their culture was actively developing.
Bilish, ulardan samarali foydalanishgina emas, bularni yaxshi saqlab qolishimiz kerak.
This monument holds many secrets. The work on deciphering ancient petroglyphs will continue because with this kind of painting, we will be able to learn more about the life of our ancestors.